All right, we are back here on Titans Talk. Phone line still open, 737-7767. We go to Randy. Randy, thanks for holding on. You're next up here on Titans Talk. Hello, Randy. You there?
Hello, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead.
I just was wondering if after the big win, you think the Titans could go on a winning streak.
That's the whole thing they have to do right now, Randy. It's not enough to win in Atlanta. Feel good about yourself. Come home after 2 straight losses and win a game against the Chargers. A hard-fought game. It's a great win, but they've got to start stacking these together. And as Wesley Woodyard told us yesterday, think about this parallel. Titans played the Chargers last year in London in Game 7. And they had the ball, 2-point conversion on the final play of the game, to try to win. And Mike Vrabel went for it, rolled the dice, and it didn't go. Chargers win that game. They go on a roll off of that win and ultimately get to the playoffs last year. Titans don't get there in part because they lose that game. Yesterday, you have 2 teams scrapping and clawing to get out of early season holes, and the Titans get that goal line stand. Absolutely. They're hoping that this can be kind of the start of something special where they can get on a run. And as I pointed out early, the schedule over the next few weeks favorable to maybe put together something here and try to get it above 500 and back into the race. Thanks, Randy. Appreciate the call. We move on now. Say hello to Roger. Roger, good evening.
Yeah, I want to know what you think about them cornerbacks for the Titans. Malcolm Butler and that Jackson boy, they're getting burnt every time. They need to, I told you the first of the season, these cornerbacks and defense win games. I told you that. Now, these 2 guys are just lumped in one hole. You get rid of them and get some real cornerbacks and keep up with those receivers and jump up for the ball and stop doing all that holding, scrapping, and just letting the ball go right down.
Roger, they had one penalty yesterday on the defensive backfield.
Also about this game, those Titans gave up too many yards. They marched right down the field on them because of that. And they had good up front blocking on defense, but they don't have nobody to cover them on the backside. And I think Mariota is still a good quarterback. But for all the reasons, the Titans have destroyed quarterbacks' careers over the years.
Well, that's
but
true.
Nobody wants to talk about that. See, they have ruined some good quarterbacks. Vince Young, Locke, and all those guys, they destroyed them since McNair left. You got to look at all the quarterbacks that ran through since McNair left, and they don't. They should have kept the other coach instead of getting this coach right here. He can't make the right decisions. Because they could have got that 1 yard yesterday, maybe 1 foot. If you can't get 1 foot, something's wrong.
Well, but that's the decision you made. And Roger, I think you said a lot of stuff there. I think it's interesting. In terms of the decision, Mike Vrabel agrees with you. He thinks you should get 1 yard or half a football or whatever it was in that instance, and they didn't. That's on the offense at that point. You think you can win the game in that situation. I agree. Mike Vrabel's had some very questionable decisions over the last few weeks. That's not necessarily one I'm going to crucify him over, but he's had some questionable stuff. In terms of the quarterbacks, I think I've been about as outspoken as anybody about how terrible the Titans have been at managing quarterbacks, and specifically Mariota. We did an entire thing on the news last week and then again last night with Jonathan Hutton on Sunday Sports Central, where we pointed out the fact that he's played under 2 different general managers, 3 different head coaches, and 5 different play callers in 5 seasons. So you can talk about the offensive line, and you can talk about his injuries, and you can talk about his inconsistent play, but all of those people were charged with making him be an NFL star, taking his game to the next level, which takes the team to the next level, and not one of them did it. They all deserve just as much blame as Mariota does. And he's not without blame himself, but the situation has been screwy. There's no question about it. And in terms of the cornerback conversation, I don't even know where to go there. The Titans have maybe the best secondary in the entire National Football League. And how you walk away from a game complaining about the defense when they're going up against Phillip Rivers and those wide receivers, and they hold them to 20 points, and the only passing touchdowns are to Melvin Gordon out of the backfield, which isn't the responsibility of anybody in the secondary, and Austin Eckler, who is lined up against a linebacker one-on-one on a bomb down the sideline. The secondary was great yesterday, and they have been great all season long. A huge reason why this is one of the best defenses in the entire National Football League. Back to the phones we go. Hey, Joe, what's going on?
Hey, I was listening to you say that like the defense held them to 20 points, which is kind of neat because you had mentioned earlier that the Titans, if they score over 21 points, apparently they win the game, right? Is that your
9-0 when scoring 21 or more under Mike Vrabel.
Right, but the average team can win a game at about 18 points, and so the fact that this defense held them to 20 doesn't mean they should win that game. The defense is still struggling. The offense has been struggling, I think, since Mariota even took the football. He was always inconsistent. He's been inconsistent for the last 2 seasons. He's never been consistent enough to score more than 18 points. And that's the. If you look at the whole football league, look at what New England Patriots are doing. Their defense rules the game. It just does.
Yeah.
And so when you look at it statistically,
Joe, I think you make a good point here. Sorry, I'm up against a break, but I think you make a solid point. But I think it's a little slanted. It's not about 18 points where the defense is. I mean, the Titans are averaging 15 points a game, basically. It might have gone to 16 finally with the 20 points given up yesterday. But they're basically allowing 15, 16 points a game. That is going to be top 2, 3 in the league over the course of a season, historically in the National Football League. The difference for the Titans compared to the really good teams is if you look at last year, playoff teams last year averaged 27.5 points a game. The Titans were at 20. They were a full touchdown below everybody else. They were giving up 19 points a game last year, which was top 3 or 4 in the league. I think it was 3rd in the league last year at the end of the season. So the defense has been elite. The offense has been way off the pace of the league leaders, and that's been the biggest problem for the Titans. This defense is getting the job done for this team right now. This offense has to have more days like yesterday for them to get where they ultimately want to go. Back with more of your phone calls after this. This is Titans Talk on News Channel 5+.